Hello, this is David from DN Cognitive Counseling. One of our subscribers asked a very difficult question, and it's something that I want to spend a little bit of time with. Most of my videos are made for anybody to watch, any age. This one is a little bit more for adults, so if you're watching this with a child, this would be a little less inappropriate. Not that I'm going to use much inappropriate language, but that the nature of the discussion and the topic is going to be more about child sexual abuse, Stockholm Syndrome. For those of you who've never heard of Stockholm Syndrome, it happened basically in 1973 after a robbery in Stockholm, Sweden, where a bunch of employees were held hostage for 6 days. Now, while this was going on, the captors were negotiating with the police, and they believed that if the robbers liked them, they would be less likely to hurt them. It got to the point where the victims were protective of the captors even after they were freed. And this psychological phenomenon, which became known as Stockholm Syndrome based upon the event, is the idea that in people in very scared situations where they're abused can fall into this trap, psychological trap. Patty Hearst was very famous for this happening to her. And the subscriber asked me the question, for a person going through childhood sexual abuse, does Stockholm Syndrome apply? And the research seems to say absolutely yes. That when a child is being groomed by an abuser, there is the aspect of I don't want the abuse, and then psychologically, if I protect the abuser and I do what the abuser wants, they're less likely to hurt me. And if they don't hurt me so much, I'll be safer. So I then fall into the trap of trying to please them. And this is the reason why sometimes people will have specific reactions in their body because they feel, and it feels like it's a betrayal, and they don't understand how this could happen. And sometimes that while they're away from the abuser, they don't tell people, and they don't ask for help. They feel on some level they have to protect the abuser, because if I protect the abuser, I'll be more likely to be safe. It's very dangerous and very scary for the person who's going through this. So a person has a perceived threat to their survival, and the captor is willing to execute that threat. People that are isolated from the perspective of others other than the captor. And then there's the perceived inability to escape, that somehow they're going to get me. Now, again, escape doesn't mean only I can't get out of the room to tell somebody. Escape sometimes means that I can't escape the person at all, that they'll be able to get me another place or another time. So it's very important to understand that this comes about when the person who's being victimized feels powerless to stop the abuse. So it's the person who goes through this to be self-empowered takes a long time and a lot of trust to be able to open up. But we always have to remember, it is never, ever the victim's fault for the abuse. And even if the victim goes into the situation knowing the abuse is going to happen, that is what grooming is all about. This is what people who perpetrate these types of behaviors, this is what they do psychologically to create that. That does not make it ever the victim's fault. And it's very difficult for people who have been victimized to be able to accept that, because they blame themselves so much. And it is never, ever your fault. If you found this video helpful, please hit like. If you found that you want to become a subscriber to this channel, hit subscribe. And if you'd like to become a patron to this endeavor, please hit the Subcribe-star button and become a patron. And I thank you very much for joining me. And if you comment below, please feel free. And I hope that you like this video, and I hope that you'll see me back next time soon.